Joining me now, former Congresswoman and current Vice President of Government Affairs for the Susan B. Anthony list, Marilyn Musgrave. Marilyn, this is quite a story out of Oregon. First of all, forcing their people to pay for abortions and then to pay for the abortions of illegal immigrants. Now, we saw in this report, them cherry picking stories to kind of prove their point. But, this isn't something that I believe that the people of the state should have to pay for.
Well, they shouldn't have to pay for it. Even people that call themselves pro-choice, many of them say taxpayers shouldn't have to fund abortion. And when you do something this broad, you could include things like sex selection abortion, late-term abortion, anything, and the taxpayer has to pick up the tab. This just once again illustrates the extreme position on abortion that some people take. And quite frankly, the nation is moving away from that. Banning late-term abortion, no taxpayer funding of abortion is widely accepted. And here Oregon, they want to do this just in case Roe v. Wade is overturned. Well, I hope that there will be a day when that happens, when the Supreme Court shifts. But in the meantime, Oregonians are strapped with paying for the taking of innocent life. And they get to pick up the tab.
Yeah, and I wanted to point out that it is actually illegal to use taxpayer funds to pay for abortions at the federal level, the Hyde Amendment. And so, when Planned Parenthood receives $500 million a year, they claim that they're not using our taxpayer money to pay for abortions, but they actually are, because the $500 million that's going into their money pool will eventually be used for abortions, right?
Of course it will. And Planned Parenthood is the largest abortion provider in this country. They have 35% of the market share. All those things they talk about, cancer screenings, HIV/AIDS testing, those things represent less than 1% of their business. They are the big abortion provider in this country. And the American taxpayer should not be funding them at over $500 million a year. And I hope that when Congress comes back into session, that there will be a health care passed in the Senate that will defund Planned Parenthood. Redirect those dollars to providers that will provide comprehensive health care to women. If they have problems with high blood pressure, diabetes, any of those things, they don't get treated at Planned Parenthood. No, they need to go somewhere else. So let's redirect those dollars to providers that will do what women need, provide them with comprehensive health care and not do abortions. Abortion is not health care. It's not contraception.
So Oregon can get around this because they're saying that it's state dollars that are paying for this. This is how they can force their taxpayers to pay for it, correct?
Well, that is what they're saying. We'll see if they can get by with it, and we'll see what the people of Oregon think about this. It's considered a liberal state, but will the people of Oregon be complicit in abortion for any reason at any time in the pregnancy and hold on to your wallet because you're going to pay for it?
And then there's news today that a federal appeals court has sided with the state of Arkansas against Planned Parenthood. That is, that Arkansas doesn't have to fund Planned Parenthood through Medicaid anymore. So this is a win for pro-lifers.
It is a win for pro-lifers. It's a win for the state. It's a win for people of that state that said, you know what, we don't have to have our tax dollars going for that. So that was some encouraging news on the pro-life front.
Well, and part of the reason that they went through with this in Arkansas was because of what they saw, the horrors from the videos from the Center of Medical Progress that exposed Planned Parenthood for what it really is. And, they were selling baby body parts to the highest bidder.
Yes, and the national news, for the most part, failed to cover that. I remember seeing many senators, members of Congress, refusing to watch the videos, but people really do need to know what goes on in these Planned Parenthood facilities. And I applaud the work of the Center for Medical Progress. David DeLayden gave 3 years of his life to come up with that information, and it's something everyone needs to see. This is what Planned Parenthood is really about. This is what abortion really is. And Americans do not want to pay for abortion.
Yeah, and what was stunning what we saw in those videos, and again, they were able to, I mean, the laws make it so that they can donate the fetal tissue to these, to research. But what they were doing is that they were taking money and to the highest bidder again. And so that's where there was, that's where there was an issue. So now we're hearing from Democrats. This is, the party of Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood uses our taxpayer dollars to donate to their campaigns. I think like 99% of their campaign donations go to Democrats. And so now Democrats are possibly going to embrace pro-life candidates. But the Planned Parenthood, head of Planned Parenthood, Cecile Richards, she's totally against this.
Well, she is totally against it. And interestingly enough, the spokesman for the head of the Democrat National Congressional Committee said, we don't want to work with pro-lifers. One of their major donors said, we're pro-choice. I'm not going to give money for pro-life candidates. We at Susan B. Anthony List are very grateful for pro-life Democrats like Dan Lipinski from Illinois, like Colin Peterson from Minnesota, who will vote pro-life. And when you have leaders like Nancy Pelosi and Leader Schumer talking about how we'll support pro-life candidates, you know what they did when I was in Congress? There were pro-lifers that were elected like Heath Shuler and some of those, and they used that majority after they had pro-life Democrats and conservative districts that were elected to promote Speaker Pelosi's abortion policies. So let's be honest, if these leaders really want to support pro-life candidates that happen to be Democrats, they'll let them act out their beliefs. They'll let them support pain-capable, banning abortion after the 5th month of pregnancy, no taxpayer funding of abortion. We'll just see how sincere they are. But Cecile Richards, she's like a political arm of the Democratic Party in many instances, is saying no, and other people, that donate a great deal of money oppose that. We need real pro-life Democrats that will stand up for what they believe and help pass legislation in Congress that will save the lives of children. So I'm hopeful for the day that there will be an acceptance on the part of pro-life Democrats, because quite frankly, we need Democrats and Republicans. And we'll see if Leader Pelosi and Leader Schumer will allow their pro-life members to vote their conscience.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how that plays out.